Morning, everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke. And today it's with Ivanilza Eichler. And today is Sunday, the 7th of November and the 3rd of October in the 9th year of Chongyalguk. Let's begin by offering a bow to our Heavenly Parent and True Parents. Chariot, Kyombe, Paro. And let's recite our family pledge, both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가족맨세 5. 전일국 주인, 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대산적 지산세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 5. Our family, the owner of Chongyalguk, pledges to strive every day to advance the unification of the spirit world and the physical world as subject and object partners by centering on true love. And I'd like to ask Na if she could offer the opening prayer, please. You just muted yourself again.
Sorry. Sorry. All right, let's pray. Our Heavenly Parents, true parents of heaven and earth and humankind, our beloved Jesus, thank you so much. We could begin a new day with you, with our brothers and sisters, with our true parents. We really invite you to be with us in this Hundoke. As we, Father, are mindful of our mothers, true mothers' health and well-being, and of the providence ahead, the urgency of Korea united as one nation again, and also the urgency of all families becoming Chonbo families, Father, and the urgency of each nation having mass weddings. But of course, we start with foundations. Father, we pray that you speak to us through our speaker today. Thank you for Reverend Utaka's leadership and John Adams and all the national leaders in Oceania. Once again, we offer this prayer and ask for your presence in true parents' holy names. Bless central families, we pray. Aju.
Aju. Thank you. And let's now give a warm welcome to Ivanilza as he shares with us this morning. Thank you. And just unmute yourself, Eva.
That. All right. Good morning, all brothers and sisters toward Oceania. John said, my name is Ivanilza. I put my Portuguese there. Alves Martins Eichler. So I got me started. To connect with the Father, I will read, everyone know from the Global Citizen, page 59, 58, 52 actually, the crown of glory. When I adopt people, I feel pain. When I judge people, it is unbearable. When I hate people, there is no value to my existence. Yet, if I believe, I am deceived. If I love, I am betrayed. Suffering and grief tonight, my head in my hands. I'm wrong? Yes, I am wrong. Even though we are deceived, still believe. Though you are betrayed, still forgive. Love completely, even those who hate you. Wipe your tears away and welcome with a smile those who know no sin but deceit, and those who betray without regret. Oh, Master, the pain of loving. Look at my hands. Place your hands on my chest. My heart is bursting, such agony. But when I loved those who act against me, I brought victory. If you have done the same things, I'll give you the crown of glory. Well, so live there. And just like to share, my journey in my life. Does everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Great. So I was born in the beautiful country of Brazil from a devoted Catholic family in 1957. I am the oldest of 6 siblings, 4 younger sisters and 2 brothers. Life was simple. We lived on a farm where we grew and cultivated coffee, cotton, rice, beans, peanuts, and more. So grew for one use and for the market. My father did all he could to send his children to school. So at 12 years old, I had finished primary school. And to go to high school, this was my, I had to travel like 3 hours. So I studied at night. And so my father dropped me to a family friend in a small township, very small township, was 40 minutes away from the farm. He dropped me there and I would take the bus while the students go to school. I just didn't know how we did that. And back, like midnight or something, I was staying that family to the night. So in the morning, my father came, pick me up, took back home. I was working on the farm and study and go back again late in the day to go to school again. So he did everything he could. He just wants his children to have education. So that was like, did that for a year or so. And after that, we moved in a big a township so I can continue studying. But I studied at night and work during the day. But I remember myself in my 15, I just have this very strong feeling, I just want to do something more for mankind, something in my heart was calling me. So I continue working, study in this small town, which is, in a way. So I remember I did all the different type of domestic work in people's house, but I always have this in myself, I say I just always made like 6 months I do this, then I may step up. So I remember 15, I work in this house, and at the time I lived with my grandmother in this little town. When my father bought us, a new house, so I could stay there, go to school, study, and so I did that. So while I was working, I also want to learn typing, and I did that. And then the end of the year, for 1 year, I went teaching at primary school in the countryside, which you have to take the bus, it's just in the middle of nowhere, just a mixed class of students. So I did that for a year, and then I worked in clothes shop. Then we moved to a big town, which my family still lives. It's Curitiba. Curitiba is the capital of Paraná, which is in south of Brazil. So at the time, I was 19, and moving there, again, I worked in a domestic home for 6 months, and I did some type of course to get a government job. So I passed. In the time I saw that work would be working in the health department, and that wasn't. Was to go and work at police department. So, and I was going to school at night, and work during the day, school at night. And then, so I was very, my spiritual side, my mother, she's a very powerful lady. And always I would night to her, I would night 100% to my mom to pray. So as a Catholic, you have this novena. We can do this prayer condition of 9 days. You go in the neighborhood, you bring a special scent you can represent, intercede for God. So I was ready to do that, go to the neighborhood and pray, and also at church. But at the time, when I went to retreat, youth retreats, afterwards, I felt like sad, because I couldn't, during the retreat was very nice, it's very ideal, but afterwards, nothing happened. So I was feeling like, what can I do? What can I do? And I used to read the Bible, so I was having tears because I didn't know or what I could do. So was around that time I met my spiritual mother. Her name is Maria Victoria. She's in Malaysia now. And so we were studying together at night. So she invited me to go to the workshop, so which I did. And, I just, the Messiah is here right now, and, as before I read through Father, the crown of glory, like before that he met Jesus, and he was kind of confused, and he said, what can I do, which way to go? And pretty much, I think that's how I felt at the time, and being kind of the first 120 members joined Brazil, the church, at the time, when people listen to divine principle, they just 7 days, they would go to São Paulo for 7 days workshop, and they wouldn't come back home. They stay, they continue. And myself, I couldn't do that, even though in my heart, so much want to do it. I want to just be full-time work missionary, but I couldn't. Two things. First of all, my center figure said, no, you are working in the police department. You better stay there because you don't want to, create trouble. And also my family. It was very difficult for them. So during that time, I used to, during lunch break, I would go to witnessing around the world. It was just like a house, mansions, just very rich people, and I'll knock on the door, and people, as ladies come up. So I did that for some time, and also I'll go in the church and pray, and I felt that time, I think it's the time, I was very strong prayers, very powerful. My prayers, that, it's something just, so I managed after 2 years. One day I decided I go. So I just went, but before I did, I has to say, I witnessing everyone in the police department. Everyone knew, what is it? What is it? And I saw jacket, fundraising, people bought jackets and things. So one day someone at the police department came and said, oh, you remember inviting me for that lecture, it's still ongoing on, Fair enough, yes, so she wants to go. Of course, she wants to just investigate it. Because at the time, it's people just went to church, just don't come back home, or some as parents was upset, all that. But in department, they look at me and say, you're right, she's still working, she's been there. So that's why they didn't want me to just go. But after 2 years, I went. And I went for 21 days workshop. Then I went to support a missionary in Brasilia. At the time, it was only him. So I went to Brasilia. And of course, I just don't know how I did those things. And I look, but that was very difficult in my family. And for myself too. It's very hard for me to do that because at the time in Brazil, I don't know here, but in Brazil, usually we didn't leave home until you get married, you don't just leave home, go somewhere without being married. So it was very difficult. So I went to Brasilia and yes, just witnessing and fundraising, just normal stuff. I have 2 spiritual children at the time there. And then in 1981, the central figure went to New York, 40 days workshop. And there's so much, the media, so much against the church, also like building up this anger, the whole nation of Brazil. And then you have this huge, people want, you guys might know this anyway, break the church and putting fire, all that. So at the time I was in Brazil, so I was taking the place, was the central figure. She was in New York. And you need to escape. You need to escape, left the house. And we didn't know, you get together, you have to go to the mountains and pray, you get together to the mountains. And also you get all separate from the church. But anyway, that passed. And that passed, and then come 1982, time of the blessing. And I have to say, everything went so easy for me to go to the blessing. Passport, money, I just was so easy, Well, I didn't have to think too much about it. Somebody else on the plane was gone. And so for some brothers and sisters, I was unable to go. That's another journey. So, so I just felt, very like, I think the merit was ancestral. Because so like it's pushed and guided, And my faith, I didn't question anything. I just had the faith. So I went to the blessing, 1982, in New York, 2075. I was 25 then. And I couldn't speak any English at all. So I was met 3 a.m. when was I think was the last day, or after that, Father didn't do much longer. And was many sisters and brothers didn't got matched. And yeah, this was kind of interesting time in the matching, and fathers asking for the international marriage. And then I have this, I don't know, I just stand up. I just stand up and myself like in this line, and I can see David just like that. And I have this, like a glance, and I just have this glance. I saw David, and I just felt I want to sit in bed. And then Father had just pick us up, and that's it. Oh, don't talk. You need to have a translation. Right. So David, he's almost 11 years older than I. I was 25. He was almost 36. He'll be 36 in September. So he was a very mature man. First thing he asked me, he asked if I had taken drugs and stuff like that. I said, oh, I don't know what a drug is. Never heard it. But that's the question they asked me. I didn't have any question for him. I just trust Father, I just. And with that, I believe, he just accepts. Oh, yes, I come back about the true parents, accept the journey, the blessing. So been no communication. You won't communicate anything, you need translation. But even though you went to the movies together, you went just some coffee, went for a walk around New York, and the occasion going for a walk, suddenly David just pick up this tiny little flower. He picked up the tiny little flower and put in my hair. And that was very romantic, it's very touching. And the same little flower will repeat later on in life as well. I'll tell you later. Anyway, so we couldn't, just faith, is the blessing. God put us together, right? So I went back to Brazil. Back in Brazil, then I went to missionary. I went for 21 days workshop, and then went to missionary, this city called Nova Iguaçu, doesn't have any meaning for you, which is in Rio de Janeiro. It's like 40 minutes from Rio, the capital, Rio de Janeiro. But I did pray to God. I said, I want anywhere. I'd like to go south. I'd like to go near my family. I don't want to go to Rio de Janeiro. I didn't want to, but that's where I went. So as you know, you go to missionary, we don't bring anything. You don't know where to stay or that. But when I arrived, it's a coffee. It's not a coffee shop you think you see here. It's very different type of coffee shop. Some people stand up and look for a place. Just has arrived half an hour from the train station. Left everything at the train station. Then I said, I'm a missionary here. I need to look for a place to stay. Then this man said, oh, you can stay in my place. You can stay in my place. So he took me there, his family. And always I have this, I said, 21 days, I move on from here. In 21 days, I want to find a place where I can stay, you know. So, but during that time, I met my spiritual children that first 21 days. The wife, you know, yeah, people have a respect, you know, for a missionary, they respect that. And they showed me all around the neighborhood. So at that time, I met my spiritual daughter, a family. She had a daughter 7 years old. She was pregnant, second one. When she heard the divine principle, she just put her 100%. Her husband, in a way, then they start, you know, she just go here and there and put in the scene, you know. Used to go 5 o'clock in the morning to pray up the rock and things like that. And is my spiritual daughter, you know, she's now, they did lost project in Jardim. Her husband passed away 3 years ago, but he did lots of the construction and very similar character to David, actually. You know, and she's great, the witnessing. So that's a foundation. So, you know, so I continue, you know, so the after move this house, after 21 days, I rent a room so I sort of could teach people in the room. You know, I go fundraising during the day, always witnessing everyone. And then I met this fellow, I invite him to hear divine principle. And he's so naive, you know. I didn't think anything. So he come to hear divine principle, and then he realized, oh, I don't need to go back. I cannot go back home tonight. I can stay here. I said, no. Anyway, after half an hour, I had to walk away from my place. After half an hour, then he went. And I realized this is not going to work. I must get a house. Well, already they have the house in my head, which I did, got a house, and then it was just like lectures and 7 days. And you have all the missionaries around the area, you know, you get together and people like to come for some reason. They like to come to my city. So it was a good time at the time. And then you has to come to Australia. So I to learn English, you know, 3.5 years. 3.5 years come, close at the time until Father went to Denver. Then my leader said, you could go to United States, you know, and after 3 months you go to Australia. I said, right, this seems right. I have no idea. So going to United States, I did not realize when I get there, how's going for time, John?
Your time is fine. Keep going. Yeah.
In the United States, and I got there, I didn't realize I'm not Brazilian church anymore, the American church. Right. Brazilian church, American church, Australian church. We all, you know, have two parents, but people, we all are unique and different, and every country have the unique culture and way to do things. So in America, you know, it's the American people, you know, decide we're going to do this, you know, they just go and do it, you know. Oh yeah, my match is there in New York, Connecticut, Boston, whatever. I'm going there, you know, they go. But as a Brazilian, no, you won't see the center figure, you know. He goes, oh, you know, we're going to work together, you know, pray, whatever, you know, yeah. So I trust my center figure, he said, after 3 months, we go to Australia. So now, but that time in America, perhaps I did need that 2 years in America, because it helped me to learn English. And we're doing giving the divine principle to ministers. But at that time, my central figure, she just always said, David should go to America. He should go. He must go to America. There was that little bit of conflict like that. And not understand the language. I remember I just lost writing because no one speaks Portuguese. And I have to express my feelings, so I just lost writing. And I just, Dave should come to America. But who knows, anyone here who knows Dave probably knew he wouldn't go, He at the time, things going for a very challenging time here in Australia. I didn't know anything. I didn't need to know. So it was not easy. But myself, I was very committed to the blessing. I have to say I was. I was, I am. Committed to the blessing. In other ways in doing this, and always witnessing, meet someone witnessing. Then I met this African man, speak Portuguese, and then he just was interested in me, you're coming for witnessing. And I really have to say, I didn't find any support to the blessing. It was most like 4 years or 4.5 years after the blessing. We need to go, need to go. Anyway, I think Dave just lose a bit of hope at this end. And I know what he did. I think he called Heaven Quack, was Heaven Horse. Then one day I got a phone call from Heaven Horse. He said, you need to go to Australia. But I couldn't come direct from America then. I was always stay in America, so I had to go back to Brazil. That was 9 months. So I come back to Brazil. My mother said, why you have to go to Australia? There is so many nice men here. You don't need to go to Australia, it was difficult for her. Very difficult. Not only for her, for my family. And so in America, I visit many churches. I remember one Brazilian church. Went to Korea at the time. And I could go different things there, at every point you can just go more, but I can't right now. Anyway, so I always felt God's presence. I did things, when I look back, why I did that? I really felt so protected, like go to a house, completely strange, and always for this blessing. Anyway, so 27 September 1988, I arrived in Australia. It's 2 days before Dave's 42 birthday. 42? Yeah, 42 birthday. So there's another journey. A relationship to communicate, and I didn't understand anything what's going on here in Australia. I know that for David, he was going through lots challenging. But always I felt the need to support him, and yeah, that's supposed to do. Not to run away, but support it, you know. Yeah, so I lived in Canberra for a year, then come to Queensland. David knew Queensland, so I come up to Queensland, got a bit more community type of environment. So I come to Queensland, yeah, just keep it, build your family, have 3 sons, and always not, yeah, you're going to church Sunday service, like, you know, John knows that very well, and she's here. So, it's learning, really, you know, learning. Now, I went to school, you know, I studied at night, you know, during the day work, like learning the difference, you know. The children can go for 6 hours at school, all the activities they do, all different things, a different step. And so learn about each other. So, what am I? And I saw, so that's carry on with life, you know, educate children, and that work, that's to not live, really. And David, you know, his type of job that he did, and he started to get a little bit of like tired, very tired, but you never knew that's real why, that's what got the job. So in 2005, so we all went to Brazil to visit my family. It was 17 years since I had left Brazil. I never went back. And so David went, and our children, 3 children. Also in that trip, we went to Champion. Now I stay long in Brazil. David went to Champion way back, and myself on the way back, I come back past the Champion with the children. We made like, yeah, it was a big trip. So from that time on, David started to get unwell, and he always thought he'd come back to work. He always gave that hope. And who knows Dave, you know, he's a man of dreams and vision. He's a quiet person, but when he speaks, he has lots of truth in it. And he still wanted to keep this dream, you know, to finally got this property, which is called Dreamland. And he wants to have an workshop in that property. He wants to see, having meet the Aboriginals and ecosystem and things. But he kept up with that. He didn't give up. And yeah, he's getting well, diagnosed chronic fatigue. He keep on and also keep working and try to maintain the family, you know, going. So until later on, I think 2014, when bought a ticket to go to New Zealand to see his family in March. Then he felt he couldn't go. He wasn't well to go. So he did not go. So in June, he was diagnosed with cancer level 4. In August, doctor said they couldn't do anything for him. He just needs to go to palliative care. But David is a good spirit. He didn't fight it. He's happy to go. But of course I wasn't. No, of course I wasn't. I was the one holding. Yeah, so it's interesting because we believe in the spirit world, we have this connection to the spirit world. But in that time is very different. We just feel everything happy to everyone else, not me, So anyway, so in 24th of October 2014, they ascended. But before, like 2 days before that, he wanted the property, and he wanted the property, and he say goodbye and come back home, and he's pray, make a little joking and skirting water on people around it, So he's still very like I'm happy. And then he just told me, he said, I'll be going now. I'll be going. I give you the last hug, last kiss. And this was an amazing moment when he called me in the room. He said, you'll be going. And yeah. And then I asked David, I said, what would be the sign you give to me and he'll be around it? And he said, it'll be a kiss. And I have to say, through the years, I have felt those kisses. Some people believe, some people don't, but I experienced that, so I like to share it. And another sign for me on David's around is the monarch butterfly. Even another day, I went to the camp, the second generation. It was amazing. I went to a different road. I was struck by that. And when I got to the camp, I saw so many black butterflies. And another sign was true when after David passed, I was very, I had to go to the library, just in Bunda. And I was very crying as I walked to the street. And it's a beautiful, street full of hibiscus, white hibiscus. And I have my head down all the way. And when I'm coming back, I have my head down, and suddenly I put my head up and pick up this white flower and put in my hair. Then I make, this is what David does. So I have many, many more different experiences I could share, but I think for this stuff now.
Okay.
So one moment, John.
Yeah.
I know I have time, no? Anyway, so David, I just like to remember David, so every year we have a get together in his 24th of October, and have sharing about friends and friends. That's something you do. And myself, it took me like 5 years to start to pray again. It took me less time. So now I'm started to, look after myself, healthy, I'm working, and show the boys, some things. But also, if I have time, I like to read something from Ada. It's okay?
Okay.
No time. It's just page 39, Mother of Peace. Every one of us needs to feel deeply grateful for being born. There is not one person whose birth is meaningless. Moreover, one person's life is his or hers alone. heaven, earth, and all things in the universe interconnect through lines of latitude and longitude. Peace means that all the energies in the entire world and in the entire universe are in harmony. Therefore, no one should belittle his or her life. We should deeply realize that everyone is a precious being, born to the sacred works of the universe. Yeah, and I could show you a few pictures very.
Yeah.
That's like the blessing. That's the picture on walk in New York and get a flower in my hand. Can you see it? Yeah.
Mm.
And just the time I was missionary. Let's say what those missionaries there and the leader. And there's my three sons.
Joshua, Tim, and Nathan.
Just the visionary man. And that's the role. Just my father. 6 months after I went to Brazil, we have a dance together, and he passed into the spirit world. 6 months after that. And it's like my tribe in Brazil, my family. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivanilza. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known Eva for many years, and David. David originally from New Zealand and lived in Queensland. And David donated a lot of land, over 800 acres, Willowdoo, where many members in Australia know. He always had a dream. I remember David very well. And True is quite quiet spoken, and he would always think very deeply before he speak, and he never changed his mind. He was always a farmer at heart, but he worked in construction a lot, remember him very well. And thank you, Eva, and our families grew up together, and our children and your children many times got together and played and really enjoyed each other's company. And yes, coming to speaking Portuguese, and not many Portuguese in Australia. So just when I know there's other people up in Queensland that can, like Kim is here, if you want to say something about David, or that'd be good.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I didn't know David very well. I think we came back in 1997, back from the States, from Japan and Russia and stuff. But by that stage, David was working so hard. He just, my memory of him was that he was working extremely long hours, and he was really trying to build a foundation for his children. And later, at that time, he was working on the new highway down to the Gold Coast, doing formwork for the concrete. And many times, I think he didn't even come home. He would sleep in his car before his next shift, things like that. So we did see him when he lived in Cleveland or Wellington Point. Yeah, and visited there, and then later he got the dream. But I particularly remember once he said he had met with Aboriginals in the Bunya Mountains. And when he got inspired about something, he got really inspired about something, and it became really kind of focused on that and so forth. So, but Eva, I'd like to talk about Eva. We don't know so much. My wife talks long time with Eva, many times, lots of nights, but probably knows a lot more than me. But yeah, she's really been a rock of the community. And but after David passed, she had to take on all of the financial responsibilities, and amazingly, with all of that, she was able to do her Chonbo conditions.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, everyone.
so, yeah, David would be so proud that he could be a Chombo, part of a Chombo couple, and really Eva's hard work. Thank you.
Mm. Yeah, thank you, Kim. Yeah, that's so true. Yes. We've got a couple of minutes left. Yes, Greg, go ahead. Unmute yourself, please.
I think, Jacinta, you witnessed to David, right? You're his spiritual parent.
Yeah,
On a building site or something like that.
that's it.
But anyway, when we joined, you mentioned Willowdoo, but that, yeah, massive, like 800 acres of property. David had a dream about creating a Christian camp. And so then he met us, he met through Jacinta, and then he donated everything. He had a big truck and all kinds of things, you know, all donated everything to us, to the church. And then started building Willowdoo. I think Janine was out there looking after the boys, and he was like the main worker who was building this huge building of big camp in Willowdoo. That was all David was working there. Anyway, I don't know, Jacinta, you want to mention something?
Yeah. I remember when I asked, he was on the building site and I was fundraising with cards or something. And he said, well, what are you fundraising for? And I said, oh, we want to build ideal families, And he said, oh, I'm interested in that. He said, tell me more, This really focused kind of guy. Was no sort of no chit chat, it's like straight to the point. So like within a couple of minutes, we'd made an appointment from him, and he's going to bring a couple of his mates as well to the Canberra Centre. Yeah, but it was very clear to me that he was a prepared person. And a few years later, when you talk about the Bunya Mountains, I had been invited to go to an Aboriginal gathering in the Bunya Mountains by Richard Fletcher here in Melbourne, because he's from Chile, and he's a very spiritual sort of Latino Chilean. And that was, I'm not sure, 2006. So I said to Ian, can I go to this thing? And he said, yeah, just go. So I just jumped in my car and took off. And it was when I got to Queensland that I called in to see Ivanilza and David, and he said, yes, I don't know if he'd already decided to go, but he just said, yeah, we're going to go. So he had a tent, and, he was all fired up. So we ended up going to the gathering, and that was a momentous experience for me, actually, because right there, they had this sacred fire burning for 3 days, and everybody could say whatever they wanted to this, you know, in front of the sacred fire. You had to accept whatever anybody said and really dignify them with your attention. And that was when I stood in front of everybody. I said about Reverend Moon and how he'd been persecuted, and people should listen, not just criticize. And I just said to everyone, don't give us a hard time, you know. We have, you know, we really want to help the world. And everyone was cheering and saying, you go, girl. And it was such an amazing experience for me. And I think David had a really good time as well. But it was just
white beard. They respected him.
Yeah, that's right, because he had a white beard at that point. But yeah, I remember then he stood up and talked about Dreamland, and we talked together about trying to create a community. And it was like a dream, because I just couldn't, you know, being more realistic, I think I just thought, how are we going to do this, you know? I couldn't see it. But anyway, I really wanted to make David, I didn't want to crush his dreams or anything, so I just really tried to help it, you know, sort of. Well, I didn't really help him very much, but anyway, that's another story. But yeah, I'm just blown away by Ivanilza's talk, because to me, she's like such a beautiful person. I'm so grateful that he was able to receive her as his wife, because she's like such a precious person from God. And I feel like my Catholic ancestors are very happy to hear about her and such a beautiful family that she comes from. And yeah, look forward to having a big party when we get there. I'll have to break down the walls of the Catholic spirit world, that's for sure. But anyway, yeah, I think we'll just blow them away, even else.
That's it.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, it's time for us now to offer our unison prayer. So I'll just change the screen. Just give me a second. Let's pray together. Jew, Jew, Jew. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and see you later.
Muito obrigado.
Obrigada.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good to
Ivanilza.
meet you. Eva.
Money.
Nice to know you.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.